Hello my friends, welcome back. Today I wanted to film just a chill little girl talk video because honestly I have done a lot of trial and error with my coochie care. And I wanted to give you guys all the tea on things I found out because it is really trial and error out here trying to figure out, you know, the best way to keep everything fresh and cool and collected. And I just wanted to give you guys some of the tips that I have learned along the way. Since I've gotten older, I've gotten more prone to like bacterial infections like BV, and I got my first yeast infection like a few months ago, and it was just not fun. And I've kind of realized a few things along the way. I've been teaching myself as I go, and also just kind of getting back to the basics. So I wanted to put you guys on to some products that I like, some things I've learned along the way. So the first thing I have to call out, because it's super duper important, like if you are not a fan of yogurt, I can't really eat yogurt every day. The texture is just something for me, and it's not my preferred food, so I'm not going to eat it every day. So instead, I do a probiotic every day. I really like this one from Trader Joe's. It was super affordable, $6 for a 30-day supply, which is not breaking the bank. So I did some research, and whatever this word is, this is actually the good bacteria that is found in the vagina. So it's going to help keep everything neutral down there, keep you on point, you know, avoid any yeast infections, bacterial infections, all of that. One thing I also want to point out is after every sexual partner, you should also be going and getting tested. So not only like if you are having symptoms, but in general, I find that that's really helpful. So first and foremost, you got to rule out any STDs, any issues like that. But ways to make you a little bit more balanced down there is definitely a probiotic. This is going to make sure that the good bacteria are in the vagina, and it also helps with your stomach. So if you have digestive issues, whether you're constipated or, you know, you're shitting your brains out, a probiotic is going to help regulate everything. Along with that, I also like to take a multivitamin just to make sure I'm not deficient in any vitamins. But major key when it comes to vaginal health is a probiotic. If you don't have access to a probiotic, yogurt's your best bet. So those are the vitamins I take on a daily basis. As far as cleaning goes, I like to use the Dove Sensitive Skin Bar. I've heard from a lot of gynecologists that if you're gonna use any sort of soap down there, it's better be unscented and it better be for sensitive skin. So they always seem to recommend the Dove one. You can find this anywhere. Like a pack of 3 is like $3. I also like using this on other parts of my body. Maybe if I'm having kind of like eczema or dry skin, I like to use something that's unscented because fragrances have alcohol in them, and that's going to throw off not only your pH balance but just your skin. It's going to dry it out a little bit more. So make sure you are going in with an unscented sensitive bar of soap. Obviously you're not cleaning internally, but around that region, cool. So yeah, I think that this has definitely changed the game for me. Back in the day, I got the IUD inserted, and I don't know, a lot of people have really great experiences with the IUD. I did for the first 3 years I had it. It's supposed to last, I believe, 7 years. And on year 4, I started bleeding like constantly, like just like spotting. It wasn't anything major where like I thought it punctured something, but I started bleeding all the time. I would get bacterial vaginosis 24/7. It was so irritating because if you've ever had BV, you know you have to take an antibiotic for 7 days. You can't drink or else you'll start vomiting profusely. And it was constant. Like, you know, I would cure it. Well, I think I would cure it, and then it would come right back. So I don't even know if it got cured from the antibiotic I was taking, but it was just a huge pain in the ass. Eventually, I ended up getting my IUD removed. Personally, just wanted to get off of it for a little bit and just kind of see how my body functioned without all those hormones in it. But if I feel my pH balance, you know, kind of out of whack or something's weird with it, one thing that I really like is the Honey Pot Company Boric Acid and Herb Suppositories. I know suppositories are not great to use, but if you've ever had BV or a yeast infection, I have read the reviews on this specifically, and women who, you know, would take the BV medication, the antibiotic, to get rid of it, they would find that it would be reoccurring, kind of like what I had before. And when they used this, it went away for good. So I've done quite a bit of research on it. I really like this actually. It's got boric acid in it and tea tree oil, things that, you know, are gonna kind of kill that bacterial infection. So this is a really great over-the-counter option if you don't have access to an antibiotic or something like that. But I wouldn't use this as like your first ditch effort to get rid of something. First, I would go to your OB, make sure it's not an STD. You know, if they don't find anything, like they don't find a bacterial infection, they don't find any sort of infection, I would go and try this out and see if it kicks you back into gear, because I really like this. You know, it's just, you use a little applicator, shove it up there, kind of like a tampon, and then the suppository's in there and it melts. So yeah, I really like Honey Pot. If you get reoccurring BV, that doesn't seem to go away with the medication that your doctor prescribes, I would try this out because it saves me before. So besides that, on a daily basis, like I said, you guys, I have to go in with soap. It can't just be water. And especially like during my period, or if I have to go number 2, I can't just use toilet paper. Like we gotta use wet wipes around here. I'm a big fan of wet wipes, so I probably shouldn't get a scented one, but I really like these ones. These are just from Target. They're the lavender scented baby wipes. You can find them in the baby section. They come in a lot of different scents. Like I said, I probably shouldn't be getting scented ones because that kind of goes against everything I'm working towards, but I like to keep baby wipes in my bathroom at all times just to make sure everything's clean, especially if you're gonna be a thong wearer. Like if you like wearing thongs, you need to be cleaning up your booty, because a thong kind of is like a string that can move back and forth. You might not even think it's moving back and forth, but it can travel. So making sure you're cleaning up your backside very, very well is super important, especially if you're wearing thongs. But like in general, like you should really be using baby wipes on your booty. I think it's definitely major key. So yeah, I mentioned I use baby wipes during my period as well. I used to use something like this Summer's Eve little to-go towels. These are great for, you know, if you're gonna go over to your man or your girl's house and you want to clean up a little bit before, or you know, you're out and about. I would just probably say get something that's not heavily scented. Like these ones are Sheer Floral cleansing cloths. They have a major scent to them, and it's really great because they are in little to-go packs like this, so you know, you can just throw a few in your purse. But the scent thing is really strong, and Summer's Eve is just something I wouldn't recommend to anyone. I used to use it in my early 20s when, you know, these were really the only option for vaginal care, but now they've come out with so many different options. I think you can find something a little bit more natural and a little less fragranced, but now I prefer like a baby wet wipe or something like that. So especially during my period, I like to use wet wipes to make sure everything's clean, because it can get a little stanky there during your period. I'm not gonna lie. Personally, what I like to do right before I get my period, I track my period on my phone through the Flow app. So if you guys don't have that, I would definitely make sure you get that, especially if you are like sexually active. Tracking your period dates is really important, and kind of tracking what days you last had sex is also important. Like if you ever have to go into the doctors, they're typically gonna ask you when your last period was, when was the last time you were sexually active, all of that. It's nice to have a little history of that on your phone that you can just pull up. But what I was getting to is I always know when my period is coming because I track it. It lets me know, oh girl, it's coming in like the next 1 to 2 days, and I make sure to shave before my period, just so it's a little less messy. You know, if you're going on a month without shaving, it's gonna get a little messy, and I just prefer no hair down there when I am bleeding, just to make sure everything's as clean as possible. It's not smelling funky, and it just makes everything a lot easier when there's not a whole lot of hair down there. That's my personal preference. Do whatever you want with your shaving or non-shaving. But another thing I like to use is organic tampons. We definitely shouldn't shouldn't be using anything with bleaches in them, dyes in them, fragrances. So yeah, I just prefer organic tampons whenever possible. It's not something that, you know, I always buy. Sometimes, you know, I'm at Aldi's, I'll just buy whatever tampons they have there. They're typically not organic, but you know, in general, I try and pick for the organic ones because I'm like, this thing is shoved in your body for many hours, so let's make sure it doesn't have bleaches, dyes, all that. So yeah, those are kind of the products that I typically like to use. Very small list. You don't need to go above and beyond with vaginal care is something I've learned. You know, like I used to, oh, it's so cringy. I used to get, you know, the little deodorant sprays for the vagina, put them on my underwear, put them on my thighs and stuff like that. Like Summer's Eve still carries those. Cringy. Don't be using those. You don't need all of that. It's actually going to throw off your pH balance way more and make it smell even more abnormal. So as long as you are going in with like a sensitive bar of soap and, you know, taking good hygiene measures, you won't need all that extra stuff. And if you feel like you do, it's probably time to go see a doctor, rule out any STDs or any infections of some sort, and make sure that your pH balance is not out of whack. You know, making sure that you are staying away from anything with scents in it, like especially those spray deodorants, any Summer's Eve wash or Vagisil wash, all of those, they have too many chemicals in them and you don't need all that. Little wet wipes like this that are overly scented. Another thing I heard you should stay away from, which I just found out, which I thought was so unique, is bath salts and bath bombs. Something about the materials that they're made out of just throw your pH balance way out of whack. So yeah, that's just something I learned recently. Stay away from bath salts and bath bombs. You don't want to soak in those. Another thing that I also learned this year, I'm 26 and I'm just finding these things out, but I just want to put you guys on because they were things that I didn't know about. If you guys are taking any sort of antibiotic, whether you're sick, I took an antibiotic for 2 or 3 weeks straight to kick my acne medication in gear. That antibiotic actually caused a yeast infection, and I didn't realize that taking antibiotics caused yeast infections. Oh, and it kind of just causes your pH balance to go out of whack. So if you are taking an antibiotic, just make sure like you're taking a probiotic as well, you know, double up on that yogurt, whatever you gotta do, girl, because that's something I didn't even realize. And I'm like, I've never gotten a yeast infection. Like, what the fuck is this? And my friend told me, she's like, girl, are you taking an antibiotic? And I'm like, yeah, but I would think that that would make my pH balance more perfect. And she's like, no, girl, it throws it way out of whack. So yeah, and also another thing is, I'm sure most people know this, but when you're having sex, making sure you're going to the bathroom right afterwards. There's a lot of different bacteria being shared. So, you know, making sure you are peeing right after you have sex and not really letting all those new bacterials commingle together. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. Just make sure you do it. I know it's tough. You want to sit there and cuddle afterwards and fall asleep. Go pee. So yeah, I hope I covered everything. I think I covered everything I wanted to mention. Like everything, these are just my personal experiences, what's worked for my body. You know, you might be way more sensitive, you might be way less sensitive. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle, but like a little bit more towards sensitive, especially when it comes to vaginal health. Like I gotta keep it strict. So yeah, these are products that have worked for me in the past. So I hope this video helps you guys out. But if you guys have any like amazing product recommendations or vaginal health tips, please leave them in the comments for more girls to see, because I think spreading a little bit more awareness on this stuff is really important. It's not something they teach you in health class. It's kind of really just trial and error out here, and you know, chatting with your girlfriends. So yeah, I hope this video helped you guys out. If you guys have any questions, let me know, but make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more content. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye! Aside from my soul.